As far back as I can remember, I dreamt of a normal life. A life filled with normal things. A life where monsters don't live in closets or under the bed. A life where ghosts aren't real. I just wanted to be normal. But that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. Since my early 20s, I have experienced profound paranormal events that would change my life. Extreme poltergeist activity, living amongst those that have departed this earth in ways unimaginable. It has affected my loved ones and children with no end in sight. I could hear things, see things, and feel things not of this world. I asked myself if this was a gift or a curse. With the help of my mother and close friends, I emerged a paranormal investigator. Since 2013, I have been on a relentless journey to learn about the paranormal. This is my time to share my journey with you. Welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. Hello and welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. I'm your friendly neighborhood ghost hunter, Justin Brown, and we are presenting episode 86, and we are going to be discussing demons for the second time on this show. I know earlier on we talked about demonic possession. Josh Bender wants me to talk about demons specifically, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Thank you for joining me. Feel free to share the stream. Keep the chat clean. Keep it classy. I see we got a whole bunch of people chiming in here. Let's see who we got. We got Jessica, Missy, Becky, Joe Vitale, Ron A, Darren Smith, Sam, Nocturnal Research, aka Caesar. Everybody's chiming in there. Of course, we have Jess and Missy here tonight to moderate the chat. Are you girls ready to talk about the boogeyman?
Ready.
All
right. Are you scared?
No. I'm too tired to be scared.
You're too tired to be scared. All right. Well, everybody, if you're watching on RU Media Network, share the stream, help out that platform, help this show out on that platform. I know sometimes it doesn't get a whole lot of attention on that platform. I don't know if it's because there's multiple platforms I'm streaming from, but let's see how many viewers we can get on RU Media. I think if I look right now, we have three. We can do better than that in RU Media. Share it out. All right, let's get this party started. Demons is something that I have definitely researched and studied on and off throughout the years. I was big into mythology, theology, anthropology, all that kind of stuff. I don't focus on it as much as I did because my understanding of anything spiritual or having to do with non-human, something has never been human but was created as a higher being, a higher dimensional being than ourselves, deals with something that is not like us. Anybody who removes the spirituality out of their mind when they want to think about the paranormal, when they want to investigate the paranormal, because objectively these things do not exist. There is no proof that anything's like demons, God, ghosts, objectively it don't exist. It's all based on faith and belief and feelings and stuff, right? But things happen and our brains are wired to have subjective belief. Our consciousness is based on subjectiveness, okay? One person does not subscribe to the same belief systems in their reality as others. One could be completely different from the other. So the first thing I want to do is diversify how we look at this. Now, the theory that I subscribe to when it comes to paranormal investigating is, if you believe something is true and a culture, meaning a whole bunch of people in a region, believe something is true 100%, then there may be something psychokinetically happening. And we're talking about our minds manifesting things into the physical world. We're affecting a physical system based on our own belief systems. Now, if you have not been thinking about this concept, this is the primary theory about beings, about paranormal phenomena, mind over matter, psychokinetic energy, psychic powers, telekinesis, ESP, all these things, magic, for example, things that deal with witchcraft and the occult. These are things that deal with the dynamic between the consciousness and physical reality. Okay? Demons fit into this category. Demons are something that man made into literature, into a religion. Religion does not exist outside of our reality, but we are led to believe that it is. Okay, so that is a belief system. It's not objectively real, it's subjectively real. And the way I want to set this up to kind of open your mind and prepare you for why I think about this is, other cultures that aren't influenced by each other don't have or share the same similarities of a pantheon, a list of gods, or maybe one god. The morals and values that are ingrained in the literature and the religion or the dogma can vary. Okay, the Old Testament is vastly different from the New Testament. Okay, when it comes to equality, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to sexual orientation. Many cultures used to discard children that weren't born perfect. There's many things out there that we can look at that are vastly different from older texts and newer texts. And we just had a show recently that went into the reason why people are diversifying their spirituality even more. Okay, people who are Christians or Catholics or anything like that still believe in the paranormal, but believe in demons are possible. So, we take the literature from these texts and we apply it to our lives. Now, the reason demons exist in the first place is because the dogma and the religions that have demons in them are trying to teach that we are all influenced by an outside source, a demonic source, and that's why we sin. We're constantly under temptation and influence by evil. But at today's standards, we should have more free will. We believe we have more free will. We believe that we are responsible for our own actions, even though this is debatable. If you research serial killers, for example, or people who do heinous acts and evil acts, the question is relevant then. You have people who claim they were told to do it by a demon. They were told to do it by the devil. Evil made them do it, right? So you have to ask themselves, are they suffering from some psychological disorder, or is this phenomena real? So that's where we're going to bring it in to the debate. That's what we want to talk about, because we want to figure out, are these things objectively real, or are these things being manifested by the people who believe them? And that's why certain people get possessed or influenced by demonic forces, and people who don't believe them don't. And I still stand by that people who do not believe in demonic forces do not get possessed. But that's up for debate, right? So demons, demonology, people who claim to be demonologists, they study the occult and all the different types of demons and folklore and different spiritual beliefs. The main culprit in this whole thing is the morning star, or Lucifer, the fallen angel, the right hand man of God, pretty much turned against God because he did not want to. He didn't feel like man and women the people he was supposed to be, you know, what's the word for this? He didn't see them as equal. He didn't see them as he had to serve them. Okay? And angels are meant to serve God and serve man. So he felt like he wanted to be he didn't have to serve, humans. So there was this big war in heaven. Angels took Lucifer's side, and there was a battle. And some people believe that's still going on today. Some people believe that the demons, the fallen angels that were cast to the earth plane, are still influencing, human race. There's, texts that suggest that demons and gods intermingled with women and had, things like Nephilim. There are stories in the Bible that suggest that things, were demonically possessed, or there's constant temptation. In the book of Genesis, that's the first example of that, where the serpent had convinced Eve to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. So all of this is ingrained there in the literature. All of this is there. But the question is, are demons real? So that's the main question I'm going to address. What we believe is real and objectively real is not so clear cut, in my opinion. I believe that things from our own imagination and things from our own minds can become real in certain situations and can influence you in certain situations. The question is what those situations are. What is the recipe for these things to manifest into the physical world? What is the limitation of this phenomena? So if we can ask that question and kind of try to unpack that and figure out, well, when have you had experiences where these things seem real, right? So that's when I want to ask you guys in chat. I want to know, what do you think about demons? Do you think that they have influence on you? Do you think that you're protected from them? Do you not believe in them? And the main question is, do you believe that people's belief in things can manifest things into physical reality despite whether it being objectively true? So that is the question for you guys tonight. Let's go ahead and shout some people out. I know that there's people sharing the stream and liking the stream. Let's get it started.
First off, something happened to the RU Media stream.
Okay, is it not working?
It's not working.
Okay, let me look it up.
It's on the standby screen.
Interesting. Okay, go ahead and do the shout outs.
Okay, I have Becky Compton, I have Derek Schreiner, I have Bill Davis, I have TJ Shelton, I have Mike. I'm really not sure what his last name was. Eddie, Josh, Sally, Jerry, I think that's what that says. Shane, William, Laura, Brownlow. And then I have Michelle Millens on RU and Laura Holmes on RU. I also have William Antonio and Daryl Marston.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, guys. I did look on my end. RU Media is playing normally on my end. So if it's not on their end, it's got to be a problem on their end.
It must be my end. So I'll try to reload it and see what I can do.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Okay. YouTube, Sam Thomas, Joe, Hannah, Shaylee, Ron A, Darren, Nocturnal Research, Mothman, A Fireball, Gina, Gina and Tina, and Nisaba.
Awesome.
Oh, Spirit Stalker just joined.
Spirit Stalker, what's up? You came in at the right time. You didn't catch my whole babble of the situation, but you get to hear what everybody else thinks. So I've seen some comments. What are some of the comments and answers to the question I proposed?
Mothman said a little bit earlier, demons are a concept of corporate corrupted versions of the pre-Christian pagan gods. Christians took the local gods and called them demons. Negative entities, totally possible though. Nocturnal says in religion point of view, there's belief that demons are the cause of ghosts. They lie and pretend they're humans.
Yeah, that is a very common belief.
Mothman also said negative of course, just meaning not in line with the personal self-interest, good and evil is totally subjective.
That is true. And that's why I wanted to make the distinct clarification that what is objectively true is very different from what's subjectively true. There are only certain things that we can objectify, and there's many things we can that are very subjective, which means it's based on what you believe or what you feel is true, not what is true.
Mothman also said that demonology is pretty cool. Nothing wrong with the study of the dark parts of life. Researching killers or evil of any kind is important knowledge.
Why do you think so, Mothman? I want to know why you think it's important. When it concerning or regarding to how you're helping someone who feels or believes that they're being under the influence or attacked by a demonic entity or energy. And that's what's interesting is, right? Like if someone already believes that they're being attacked or under the influence of a demonic entity and you feel like they're not, how do you go about that? How do you convince them otherwise? Is it even possible?
Do you want me to read Becky's comment?
Oh yeah.
It says I got a whole different perspective on that at OSPH 2. Do you hold people with brain damage to the same standard as people without it? Most serial killers have some type of frontal lobe damage. So it was explained to me that if a person has brain damage that caused them not to feel pain and they stick their hand or on a stove, they don't feel it. So what if that brain damage in the serial killer is that they don't have the capacity to feel like we do?
From based on my research, Becky, the part that is disrupted in a sociopath's mind is their ability to empathize with other people. They look at other people as objects, not people. Like if I see Jessica and she tells me she's knock on wood, she went to the doctor and they said that she has cancer, that I would feel completely bad. Like I would empathize with her. But a serial killer, a sociopath would not. There's a part in the brain that, or a system or pathway in the brain that will allow them or not allow them to feel empathy for others. And it's almost like other people are objects, so they're almost disposable in that way. I think that's what you were trying to convey there.
She said, I think I saw one and I have had nightmares ever since.
Becky saw a demon?
Yeah.
I definitely want to hear more about that.
TJ said even psychic Sylvia Brown stated that things can become real once they are believed in.
Right. And of course, psychics will probably subscribe to the whole idea of psychokinetics like I do. I believe that, but I don't believe it's always true. I believe that there's a lot of factors involved and that to actually happen. And a lot of us do not understand why.
I have a question from Darren.
Okay.
So if someone says that they have been possessed, is that a demon doing or another type spirits?
Depends on who you ask, Darren. His question was if the person being possessed believes that.
Well, I think he's saying if a person has been possessed, is it demons only doing that, or can anything else do that?
I think what he's asking is, can people be jumped by entities other than demons? Yes. Yes, some people are very sensitive. This is a subjective truth. This is based on my belief. Thanks, Serena, for sharing. People who are very sensitive that operate and function as a conduit for that type of phenomena are easily jumped. Physical mediums can be easily jumped by entities or energies where they will actually, it's almost like a form of possession. But a lot of people would debate that. A lot of people will say possession only deals with the demonic, but I feel like people who have psychic abilities definitely can be jumped if they're not careful or don't know what's going on, if they're not in tune with what's going on, that they could definitely do that. Now, transmediumship and physical mediums most of them have a grip on the situation and can control how the entity speaks through them, acts through them. People who do Ouija boards, dowsing rods, or anything like that, that is a form of that. And that's why some people who do Ouija boards can get possessed by demons. That is a theory. So hopefully that answered Darren's question. Any other questions?
Mothman said, I believe, to reply back to what he said before, certain members of the church made the argument to the classic demonologists that they shouldn't study demons because they are evil, but to ignore it is to be ignorant of it, and it's more dangerous.
Yeah, I'll comment on that. There is a lot of Catholic priests that are taught to ignore the demonic forces that may be there, and they say that that's a tactic to if you don't ignore it, it will take power away. And I don't know if I can agree with that, but that is definitely a belief.
I do have a question. I'm just trying to find it real quick. Nocturnal says, you think negative people in life become demons in the afterlife?
You're either a demon or not a demon. In my eyes, you can become evil, and that's a good segue into a lot of things that I want to talk about tonight. I think that true evil comes from us. I think the people who wrote the biblical text, the literature, it all comes from us. People create the evil, and to make sense of it, they personify it and externalize it to religious phenomena, to beings outside them influencing them. It's almost like a scapegoat. It's almost like a way to create an excuse of why these things happen. And based on my opinion, people are evil. They can do very bad things. Things can happen in your life to make you very bitter, to make you very just outright mean and aggressive. People are very evil in nature. They can be. Everybody has a shadow side. Everybody has a light side. To find a balance in between that, it is tricky. Look at war. If you march off to war, and let's say this war is legitimate, and you're fighting to save your country from tyranny, then you got to murder people. You got to flat out kill them without hesitation. Is that evil? Well, yes and no. You have to do bad things in order to ultimately do something good for another. So those are the things that are delicate. Those are the things that are up for debate. That's why when soldiers come back, they're still trying to internally justify the killing of people. And that can cause a lot of problems psychologically because they are good people, but they killed others without hesitation. And that can really fuck people up. So there is a balance between good and evil, and I think that that's why all these things come from ourselves. But the interesting question is, can these things physically manifest? Are they actually real? And I think it can be.
Laura had an interesting comment. She said there was a study back in, I believe, the 70s where a group of people created a spirit that they give a name and a story to. And after working this study for, I don't remember how long, they started to get responses connected to the spirit they created.
Yeah, let's see if we can. Laura, do you know anything that Google can make a hit on? I remember this study too. Hopefully someone can help me find this on the air. I'll try to find it here in a second if no one else knows. But that is a very interesting thing, and I think a lot of us paranormal researchers need to do more experiments like that. Definitely, if you have psychics on the team, like try to create something psychokinetically and see if psychics pick up on it. That's definitely what I want to do. Hi, Betty. I see you there.
Eddie Pence said, I've been wrecked by a nasty spirit for years. I finally realized that I had an attachment. You actually believe you are just depressed, but you are not.
So, go ahead.
Kathy Santori said it was several years, the Philip experiment.
The Philip experiment. Okay, thank you. I'll look that up now. Keep going, girls.
Are you looking that up? Mothman says, just in general life, being ignorant to the negative is dangerous. Seek knowledge of all kinds. Watch serial killer documentaries. Study cult behavior. Seek to understand, not just be wary.
Yep. I'm a very macabre person myself. Go ahead.
Bill had a question. How about the Zozo phenom?
Yeah, that's definitely something that you can draw parallels to with the Philadelphia experiment. I have this up right now. We'll take a look at it. Let me go over here.
He said if it's from the 1970s, he might be in it.
Okay.
I knew he was going to say that.
Philip experiment. The Philip experiment was a 1972 parapsychology experiment conducted in Toronto, Ontario, to determine whether subjects can communicate with fictionalized ghosts through expectations of human will. The experiment was conducted by the mathematician A.R.G. Owen and overseen by psychologist Dr. Joel Witten. The test group consisted of A.R.G.'s wife, Iris Owen, former chairperson of Mensa in Canada, Margaret Sparrow's industrial designer Andy H., his wife Lorne, heated engineer AI Peacock, accountant Bernice M., bookkeeper Dorothy O'Donnell, and sociology student Sydney K. Their goals were to create a fictional character through a purposeful methodology and then attempt to communicate with it through seance. The character created and agreed upon was named Philip Isford, or Islesford, I guess, referred to as Philip during the test. His fictional history partially coincided with actual events and places, but with multiple contradictions and errors. He was born in 1624 in England, had an early military career, and was knighted by the age of 16. He was involved in the English Civil War and became personal friends with Charles II. Working for him as a spy, Philip was unhappy, married to a woman named Dorothea, and later fell in love with a Roman girl. So they gave this person a whole background. The group was seated around a table with initial seances yielding no contact, no communication, and no phenomenon. Owen changed test conditions by dimming lights and changing the environment to mimic that of a more traditional seance. Participants began feeling a presence, table vibrations, breezes, explained echoes, and rapping sounds. So the criticism of this experiment is the experiment has been criticized for lacking solid controls and providing ambiguous results due to the unreliability of seances. Repeated tests, which created fictional characters named Lilith and Humphrey, yielded similar results. Thanks, Angela. So, repeated tests, or fictional characters named Lilith Humphrey, yielded similar results under similar circumstances and were deemed inconclusive. Overseeing psychologist Joel Witten concluded that the effects were produced by participants as a subconscious defense mechanism, causing their behavior to regress to a childlike mentality. So that's all very interesting. I think that we need to do better experiments. I think we need to do better than this. But I think that the whole experiment was definitely a good start. What we got going on in the chat here? People are still coming in.
Joe says they don't need our energy. They simply manipulate our energy emotions, so they say.
Okay.
Mothman says, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Nope, you're fine.
Mothman says Philip is real if you make him real. LOL.
Jared said, I'm definitely a believer in demons. I, however, tested with team members and leaders using the term demon at the first sign of activity. Have you run into this problem? I think the term gets thrown around way too much.
Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. Okay, sorry, Jared. I'll start over. I need a sound engineer to help me with my show because I have to unmute Missy when I go full screen. Um, let's see if I can go back. Yes, some people do believe that when they feel something happening, it feels bad. They're scared of it. They go to the demon. And what I was saying was, team members, if you have a team with different individuals, they will believe differently. Some of them will carry their emotions and their spiritual beliefs with them and use that to, as, a way to filter through all of their, investigation, how they choose to proceed and react to certain things. I try not to do that, but a lot of times I still do because I think that my personal belief is I do cleansings. I mentor people, psychics, people that are dealing with occult, stuff. I do study that. I do have beliefs in them, but I understand that being able to remove those things from an investigation to be the best paranormal investigator I can be is very important, because what I want to do is objectify what's going on, even though 100% of paranormal experiences and report are subjective and are based on people's subjective experiences. Not all the time. Some people, like all the members in a home, will experience the same thing, but then you got to deal with mass hysteria and the whole explanations on that. It gets very complex. Yep, I see myself muted.
Nocturnal said, do we create ghosts when we go and investigate?
I believe it. I believe that when you go to a haunted location or even a non-haunted location, your beliefs, your intent, your energy will manifest things. So yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Missy.
I just said your anger.
Oh.
I was adding to what he said.
Oh.
Go ahead and read yours and then I'll read mine.
Okay, Joe has a 3-parter. He posted this earlier. He says, tell an untruthful story about a haunted location and a person who passed away inside of the location, but in reality, it never happened. People start reporting the activity and the spirit of that person. And then he said, last investigation I did, there was a lot of stories about the location. And after doing research, a whole lot of stuff was just made up garbage. However, people are getting EVPs and psychics were supposedly picking up on people who passed on energy.
The reason that happens is pretty much everything people do is subjective. The analysis they do is subjective. What they call evidence is suggested. When they hear an EVP, they don't even validate that it's anomalous at all. It could be something misidentified, and they will interpret it how their minds are, wish. There's confirmation bias. So if you already believe that the place is haunted, if you go there, cost money, travel distances to go there, you spend your time and energy there, You are going to do whatever it takes to come out of that investigation with evidence. And you guys can fill in the blanks after that. You can go ahead, Missy.
Becky said Lilith was the mother of demons in some religions.
Right.
Interesting choice of names. Frater said, in my experience, Americans' preoccupation with the occult by those that do not understand what they are doing with causes way too much trouble.
Okay, I'm sorry. Read that again.
He said, let me find it. In my experience, Americans' preoccupation with the occult by those that do not understand what they are doing, what they're along with causes way too much trouble.
I'm not sure. I don't quite
I think
understand.
what he's saying is if people are preoccupied with the occult and demons and they go and try to do dumb stuff and they don't understand what they're doing.
Well, that's the problem with taking your own beliefs to an investigation. If you're a demonologist and you believe demons are the culprit behind all this stuff and you go somewhere, that's what confirmation bias is. So that's why I constantly advocate and preach removing your own beliefs from your investigation. That's a perfect example why it's good.
Angel Fowler said, I believe there are evil spirits, but not everything we feel evil from is a demon.
Okay.
Mothman possession is an accidental channeling. Spiritists, psychics, channelers, and old school UFO conductees had times where they were involuntarily taken over by beings not even necessarily negative.
That's interesting.
Darren had a question for you, Justin. Have you ever had to deal with a demon during investigation?
That's a good question. The very first case I worked on, or one of the very first cases I worked on, with a guy I used to go to grade school with, it dealt with the murder of a woman whose body was never found, and he wanted to see if he can use ITC to find the body, and psychics and so on. The murderer was a straight up evil son of a bitch. He made snuff tapes. He recorded the rapes, the beatings, and murder of victims, and the disposal of those victims. And he had, he was a self-proclaimed Satanist. He was very open about this. Just a very evil son of a bitch. Well, we had got some responses on the shack hack that we were using. It was giving the names of actual locations and roads and cardinal directions and everything, which we found interesting. So when we got to the point where we were close, where other psychics that didn't know what we were doing were hitting on, that's when all of a sudden this guy I was working with stopped communicating with me after he called me late one night asking me if I had sage, because all kinds of hell was breaking loose at his house where his girlfriend was at. Didn't hear from him for a year and a half afterward. After talking to him again, he said that his sister just woke up out of a dead sleep and tried to burn him and his father's house down and is still in the loony bin. And she was fine before. And his life fell apart. He said he felt cursed. The night he called and asked for the sage, I felt like something was trying to psychically attack me. And I guess whatever was happening, if this was an entity, they didn't do a very good job doing their homework on what scares me or what affects me, because I thought that was kind of humorous. So fast forward a few years later, I was talking to another psychic from Tennessee about this. She said that she wanted to look into this case. The case intrigued her. I told her not to, that everybody who got close to the case had bad things happen to them. She didn't listen to me, and she and her husband ended up getting cancer and almost dying, and she got really sick. and her husband ended up losing her job, and all kinds of bad things happened. And is it possible that this was some type of demonic force? It is possible, but I believe that the investigator I was working with could have manifested this, and since I was investigating with him, it could stem from that. I don't know for sure if I've actually objectively been against something evil. Can't answer that, but that was the one time I thought that there was a possibility.
Kathy Santori had a question. She said, "Do you think that some say others who see are dreaming and acting like children to deal with things that they cannot explain?"
Can you read that one more time?
Do you think that some say others who see are dreaming and acting like children to deal with things that they cannot explain?
I don't understand the question.
I don't either. It's on our you.
All right, I'll take a look at it. What's the name?
Kathy Santori. It's the only question on there.
I got the whole chat mixed together, so I have to look through it. Okay, and grammar. I see that. Sorry,
She
punctuation.
said, sorry, punctuation.
Do you think that some say others who see are dreaming and acting like children to deal with things that they cannot explain? Like they kind of just say, yeah, I'm having a hard time understanding that. I'm sorry. Maybe you can reword it. I know Gina says the Satanists she talks to don't actually do that type of stuff. There's many different modalities of Satanism. The Satanism, I know different types of Satanism, Gina. I know the ones that are straight up evil and do evil stuff. I know the ones that they don't even believe in God and the devil. So there's different modalities and different belief systems there. It's very diversified on both sides. So Mothman, let's try to catch up on some of these. Do you want me to read Mothman's, Jess?
Sure. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any. So I'm not on the bottom yet.
Okay, and in Grimoire's magic books from the 17 and 1800s, the magician would call upon demons, the pre-Christian gods, and hold them back with the power angels to receive knowledge and wisdom. Kind of like King Solomon stuff. That's what that reminds me of. Oh, Spirit Stalkers donated again. Thank you very much. That is awesome. I keep on waiting for someone to put in, because if you donate something through the Streamlag link, you can put in a message. I'm waiting for somebody to put something crazy in there. I don't think Spirit Stalker's that crazy, though.
She said, I wonder if the people who are saying this are not dealing with it.
Dealing with what?
The demons. Kathy Santori I think she just reworded what she was saying.
Wonder if the people who are saying this are not dealing with it. What are they saying?
I'm thinking what she's saying is the ones that don't believe in it is the ones that's not dealing with that's dealing with it.
Okay, so if that's true,
maybe. I mean,
yeah, people believe things are happening to them. Someone can come up and look at a situation and be like, well, that person's crazy. They're not dealing with demons. And the person dealing with it be like, oh, it's demons. I can say that because I'm dealing with it and you're not. That's the subjective part of our reality. Knowing how to objectify reality is removing your own thoughts, beliefs, and ideas from what could be happening. Mothman says it's strangely Christian way to do it. Bet the magicians who did that consider themselves Christian, just a divergent from form of it. Solomonic magic has that. Yeah, the Book of Solomon is very interesting, and it's definitely primary material and source material for demonology. Yeah, that goes back to my initial monologue where I was talking about how the old ways are much different from the new ways. You know, King Solomon was using demons and using dark knowledge and occult stuff to do things, and he was Christian. So that is very interesting. I see that Caesar's talking about the jinn.
Hannah says, if you believe in demons, does it give them more power?
Depends on who you ask. If you ask most Catholic priests, yes. They believe that when you acknowledge their power, it gives them more power. So actually believing in it gives them more power. So that's how magic works in general. That's how all of this works. That's how cleansings work. That's how spells work. It's the intent and the belief in it. And the receiving end's intent and belief is also important. So the important components of magic and demonic attacks are all the same. It all deals with the mind, the consciousness. If the person's not aware of stuff happening to them, they can't interpret it one way or the other. William Antonio is Anthony Grothis, if you didn't know, Jess.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yes, I know. Hi, Anthony.
Thank you
He had
for
to go
liking.
answer a 911 call.
I got demons at my house. Help me, Anthony.
Oh,
Well, that's a good question for Anthony. Has anybody called 911 saying that they were under attack by ghosts or demons? That's had to happen at least once.
Spirit Stalker says, I kind of wonder why demons tend to show off more than good angels. I have yet to see an angel activity besides the obvious miracles. Angels don't talk or get seen as much, I think.
It depends on who you ask. There's a lot of people that do angelology and deal with angels. It's not as common because let's just face it, it's not a cool of a thing. Demonology sounds cooler than angelology. You know, demonic possession and demonic influence has more entertainment value and gets more interest than the inversion of that. But I have talked to people that see angels, that do angel work. There's this whole thing called angel tarot cards that people use that deals with angelic phenomena. So it all depends on what you believe, guys. All depends, right?
He said yes.
Well, tell me about it. Give me that content, brother. I want to know what happened. Type it all out for us. Everybody else wants to know too. Enotian magic? I've never heard of that before. Let's Google. Google now.
While you're looking that up, Mothman says angels are cool. I would definitely recommend you study angels first. Look for the good in life and don't shy away from the dark either.
Okay, Enotian magic. I'm learning something new here. Enotian magic is a system of ceremonial magic based on the evocation and commanding of various spirits. It is based on the 16th century writings of John Dee and Edward Kelly, who claimed that their information, including the revealed Enotian language, was delivered to them directly by various angels. That is something I have never heard about. That's cool, man. I have never heard about that.
Mothman says, my paranormal soapbox episode, ? Angels, do it.
Hey, if we're going to do demons, we can do angels too.
William said, my teammate is dealing with one situation. He responded to a 911 check on the welfare of her neighbor. Her ring cam has the neighbor backwards crab crawling to her front door. Audio of it has her speaking in Aramaic.
Okay. That's crazy. We have a question from Periscope here. Cincy B asks, what does it mean when shadow figures people are around? Are they a form of demons? Good question. Do not judge what it is based on their appearance alone. Demonic activity could be completely different depending on who you're asking. Demonic activity can be very straightforward: evil, harmful, attack, hurt you, curse you, do bad things. But sometimes it will take on the form of child, try to gain your trust, try to make you feel like, try to befriend you, try to be sneaky about it, right? So if the shadow figures aren't doing anything demonic like, then I don't see why it's fair to say it's demonic. The shadow figures could just be shadowy because of the physics involved with seeing it that way. And that's what I believe. But there's a lot of belief or things you want to consider in how they're presenting themselves to you. If they have the ability to control how they're presenting themselves to you, that might indicate that there's some type of intent there, like they're trying to hide themselves from you or appear more scary. Good question.
Mark says, looked into Enoch magic recently after Alex, Eric, and I contacted the Ouija board by being called Sam Enoch back in September 2019.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of a notion magic before, ever. That's why the show's great. You learn things.
Kathy asks, what do you think about aliens? Are some of the attachments alien?
It could be. Why not? I mean, there's a lot of people believe that demons or fallen angels are aliens. I see you there, Sin City, on Twitch. How are you doing?
Justin, I do have a question that was asked at the beginning of the show. It is off subject. If you want me to ask it, or you want...
Well, you might as well now.
Sorry. Hannah wanted to know, how do you feel about pendulums?
I'll tell you two things. Well, I'll tell you some things about pendulums. Pendulums, when you're holding stuff, whether it be dowsing rods, the planchette on a Ouija board, or a pendulum, you have to understand what the ideomotor effect is. But it may be more difficult to understand. The ideomotor effect, straightforward definition of that is you subconsciously move your hand or the dowsing rod or the pendulum subconsciously to get the result that you want, whether you're trying to do it or not. That's why when you are doing the planchette and the Ouija board, it spells out things that you can comprehend. But if you blindfold yourself in the experiment, you don't spell out things. So I read an article about dowsing, water dowsing, and it was a scientific experiment conducted that suggested that magnetic fields, if they have a magnetic field, geomagnetic field sensitivity, and there's water present, there will be a variation in the magnetic field, which is called a perturbation. You could feel the variation. So if people have that sensitivity, unconsciously with the ideomotor effect in play, they are moving the dowsing rods when they feel something, but they don't actually know that they're doing it. So pendulums can be the same thing. You're feeling something, you're tapping into something subconsciously or even unconsciously, and that's what's moving it. But I don't believe that an external force is moving it. I believe it's you the whole time. Whether it's one thing or the other is debatable.
Mothman had a question. Justin, do you know anyone who does channeling? You know, where the different voice takes over.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The newest person I talked to is Serena Crow. I don't know if she's still watching, but she is on with Sean Gilmore or on Into the Abyss on RU Media on Wednesdays. Sorry, every other Wednesday. Missy does things like that from time to time. Yeah, I've looked into all kinds of transmediumships. It's definitely a thing.
Tia asked, what is the deal with black-eyed children? With black-eyed kids?
I believe that, based on what I've researched, it's almost like a vampiric thing where they have to knock and ask permission to come in. I've read that they primarily show themselves to younger people and children. They're very vampiric and demonic in nature. Some people believe that they're extraterrestrial and alien, and some people will say that aliens and demons are the same thing. So I have not experienced that myself, but that's what's cool about the paranormal, or terrifying, however you want to look at it, that things that are outside logical, scientific, physical explanation, yeah, it's paranormal.
She also said, where is
Mothman says, cool. Can they do it on commands? Are they local to Ohio, West Virginia? Get me in a contact with a Chandler. I love that stuff.
I'll look for you.
different people different ways?
Because their mind is a conscious, separate thing. Okay, that's free will. That's almost like evidence of the conscious mind. We're not information robots. We're not like, it's not all just raw input output data. We subjectively interpret our reality. The information comes in and we decide on the meaning of it. We decide on how we feel about it, how we are going to integrate it into our own belief system, depending on our upbringing and our own free will. That is why it's different. And that is why people experience things, other people don't experience things. And that's why nobody in the paranormal community can agree. Subjective. That's going to be the term you hear me say more than anything. Becky liked the stream.
Nocturnal says, have you read on the things Aleister Crowley did?
Oh, a little bit. Aleister Crowley.
Aleister. Okay.
What specifically? What is he talking about?
I don't know. He just asked if you have read.
It's been a long time. I have read it, but I can't specifically remember something that pertains to this show. My hard drive is full. Did a Fireball just join us?
No, Fireball's going on.
Oh, okay.
Jen just joined us a couple minutes ago.
Oh, I see what's happening now. Jen's late. And it's 9 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe that? Can you believe it? Should we keep going?
That's up to you. Just show.
I'm control of all of your lives right now. It's the chat that's controlling us all. They got the driver's wheel. They're in the driver's seat now. Sandra says they have said that Aleister Crowley was the most evil man that ever lived. That's debatable.
It was an Aussie song. What the hell are you talking about, Bill?
Aleister Crowley, sorry. Yeah, he was an occultist, a magician, and he founded the religion of Thelema, identifying himself as a prophet entrusted with guiding humanity into the eon of hours in the early 20th century. Yeah, freaky dude. He's pretty much a cult leader. Pretty much that. Pretty much. Pretty interesting guy. Oh, Aleister Crowley got sick. I didn't know that. Died December 1st, 1947 is what this says. His real name was Edward Alexander Crowley. Um, he and called himself the Beast. Interesting fellow he was. Yeah, I guess the takeaway from the show is demons exist if you believe they do, and it's based on your interpretation of what's going on, not what is objectively happening. Let that be my opinion on the takeaway of this show. Whether demons can materialize into a physical thing that affects and influences our physical reality is debatable. In my experience, there has not been enough evidence to suggest to me that it is something that physically affects things, whether they believe it or not. Now, I do believe that people that get possessed believe they are possessed. I'm waiting to find a case where there's a demonic possession of someone who did not believe in demonic forces or weren't afraid of them. Deb Schneider's in here now. I didn't know if did she just come in, Missy?
She just popped on.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else before we wrap it up?
No. Bill said he's seen something behind me earlier, and someone on YouTube was trying to confirm.
No, I think I don't know. It was Hannah. I just think maybe she wanted to know more about it.
The Aleister Crowley stuff?
No, there was something behind me, Bill said. Someone walked behind me. But I've been in this room by myself the entire time.
I didn't see anything. Maybe it happened when I wasn't paying attention. Mind over matter, Deb says. Is the trailer for the latest documentary demon related? The ending sounded like it. Why don't you ask Deb Snyder? She was there. That was a recording of her own investigation. So, Deb, Mothman Historian wants to know if that was demon related, what you think of that. I believe that she would definitely believe that she was being overcome by something. It did not sound fake at all to me. I've listened and I've seen movies, I've seen TV shows, I've seen all kinds of claims of people. It looked real. It sounded real. I'm sorry. It was only an audio recording. It sounded real. Whether it was a demon or not, you have to be open to the potential, because it is highly believed that the place has had occult activity. Satanists and occultists have lived there and done things. My mom confirmed that. Other psychics and other spiritualists and paranormalists confirmed that. So you have to be open to that. So yeah, the end of that could have been something. Whether it was an entity that believed that they were evil. I know that the Hinsdale house, there's an entity there that's very similar to the Monroe house. But I believe that deceased human people can come across as evil and can be just as evil. Okay? And I think that they can come across even more evil, or what is personified in our culture as evil, than actual evil things. Because let this be another takeaway from the show. Not all demons do bad things. Okay? Just because you told God that you weren't going to be a servant to mankind makes you a thing with horns and fire and curses people and, possesses people. Okay? Cincy B says, I believe that if you believe in good and evil, angels, Satan, there are also demons, in my opinion. Yes. Yes. Mothman says, well, Deb did say that she was jumped by something and it was completely real. Monroe House. Oh, yeah. Okay, yep. I'm going to be evil, Betty said. Mothman says, I think some of this stuff could be involuntary channeling of beings that angry, perhaps rightfully angry or scared. I believe that. I believe that is very possible. And that's what I told Deb. I said that someone like channeling the memory of someone going through something like an attack, like being attacked by someone who is evil in nature, and you channeling that, I think that's what happened to Deb. But, you know, she has her own beliefs in that documentary. I'm going to tell her story. I'm not going to put my own interpretation on it. I'm just going to let her tell her story in that, and you guys can go from there. But I'm going to wrap it up, guys. You guys are freaking awesome. Jess and Missy were awesome. They did a good job helping me out with that. I know when Jessica's not here, it sucks. So I appreciate it when she is here. And this show has been very good. The interaction engagement has been completely awesome. The retention of viewers has been really, really good. I know YouTube picked up there towards the end, but let's get this done, fellas. The link's on the screen. InterfaceDeath.net. Please go to the website. Subscribe to the mailing list. We won't spam you, but you'll get updated on all the important stuff. And our documentary, if you have not watched it, I forgot to load it, so I will try to load it into OBS at the end of the show so you can watch it. But we're on this show's on Facebook, Interface Deaths on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Patreon is a way you can support the show financially and get rewarded for it. So check that out at patreon.com/support Interface Death. The link is in the description. The PayPal me link is there, but if you want to do it during the show, the PayPal link in the description is the way to pop up the alert when you do that. And you can join us on Discord. UPS, it's a group on Facebook. If you want to join that, just send me a join request. We get you in there. And last but not least, we want to shout out our Patreons. Please extend your thanks to Clay Borman, Katie Turner, R.J. Murphy, Scotty Fox, Casey Schreiner, Jessica Bias, Paranormal Reporter, Anthony Grothis, Heather Elliott, Joe Vitale, The Ghost Guild, Kelly McConkley, Tony Filosi, Betty Kegley, Cherry Capital Shadow Seekers, Deadlight LLC, General 7. Thank you very much for your continued support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are awesome. You've been great. Thank you, the Spirit Stalker Afterlife, for her $5 donation. It helps us out a lot. And tomorrow we have Lyle Lotz from Twisted Paranormal Society joining us. So 8 p.m. on the YouTube channel that you're watching this on. If you're going to watch on Facebook, it's on the Necromancer live show. Just check out the events on my timeline to get to that. And Friday, we're going to have episode 6 of Interface Death Weekly with Bill Davis. You guys are awesome. You guys are great. I'm going to get out of here. Stick around for some video promos. As always, we'll see you next time. Do you have that drive? That morbid curiosity to explore the darkness? Do you have what it takes to brave the night? You do? Good.
off now. In God's name, back off.
You go back to your bathroom, you stay back there.
But I got you. Don't fucking touch me! Fuck! Okay. Leave me the fuck alone! Okay, sweetie. Okay. Open the door, get the door. Open the door, let's get her out of here.
Get the door.
God! Leave me alone! 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 Leave me alone!
Get out of here.
Out! I can't move my feet! I can't move my feet! In God's name, out of here now!
In recent years, the word paranormal has taken on a new place in thoughts and minds of people everywhere. Once a word associated with blasphemy and the supernatural, paranormal has entered mainstream thoughts and conversations. 42% of American population believe in either ghosts or hauntings today. Within that, the discussions in the media have tripled in the last 20 years. In 2016, a radio talk show rose from the darkness in New York and now has become a popular beam of light with a no-holds-barred paranormal discussion. It's raw, live, and sometimes out of control. It's real and here, allowing all that care to listen to new ideas, new thoughts, old superstitions, and sometimes the downright weird. You want different? You want off the cuff? You want edgy? Then Paratalk Radio is what you should be listening to. It's 2 hours of guests, interviews, skepticism, unusual topics, and outside-the-box strange that pushes every button on the soundboard of life. So again, discover Paratalk Radio. Monday nights on WLFE DB Radio Network, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Paratalk Radio can be seen as live videocast on Facebook and heard on audio streams through iHeart, iTunes, Google.Play, Spotify, Spreaker, Comcast, Radio.com, and so many more. Join Ted and Cindy every Monday with guests and topics that will open a pathway to the unknown, the supernatural, and the paranormal.
This is Jason Bland, host of Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup, where we stream live as a webcast every Sunday night, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, with guests who will blow your mind. Live ghost box sessions where you can call into the show to see if the spirits will talk to you, and the World Wide Web of Weird with the latest in paranormal news and evidence. We're bringing the weird every Sunday night, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow and subscribe.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Goose.
And I'm Michael Bradley.
Is that what you're calling yourself tonight?
Heisenberg.
Not the Angry Kitty.
Max Braggins.
Anywho, we're the hosts of the Cryptic Paranormal Show.
On our show, we'll talk about all things paranormal except Bigfoot. He freaks me out.
Really, dude?
You know that, but I guess we could talk about him as long as I don't have to see him.
We will talk. As a matter of fact, we'll talk about all fields in the paranormal realm.
And every week, we will interview new guests, celebrities, and researchers in the field, and all our comrades in the paranormal underground.
And we aren't afraid to ask the hard questions no one else will. Our conversations are rooted in our own experiences as paranormal investigators.
So be prepared to have your minds, your opinions, and your beliefs challenged.
And let's not forget to warn them about all the tomfoolery and shenanigans. Let's just say, you might want to put the kiddos to bed before tuning in. They don't call us the paranormal shock jocks for nothing.
Do they call us that?
If they don't, they will.
So be sure to tune into the Cryptic Paranormal Show every Thursday night from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on RU Media Network.
Spook you later, crypto heads.
Bye.
Shut up.
Welcome into the Abyss with your host, Sean Gilmore. Open your mind, both of your ears, and all three of your eyes to discuss all things supernatural with weekly special guests. We believe that we all learn from each other and we all have a lot to learn. What will you learn today? Here is your host, Sean Gilmore.